Good afternoon. We have sound, and we're going to have action here in just a minute. I'm Brenda Payne, the CEO of the Hendersonville Area Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome all of you to our February luncheon. Now, for you guys who are really wondering what in the world to do this month for your Valentine, you need to pay special attention to all of the specials on flowers so that you can get out there and make sure that your lady is happy. It's just a shameful commercial for all of us to make sure that we're taking care of each other. But we're so glad you're here today. We've got a special program on tap for all of us. I think you're going to enjoy that. One of the first things I want to tell you is, woohoo, I am a Predators fan. Look at my jersey.
How do you like this?
This was such a wonderful gift. I had the opportunity to go and visit at Bridgestone Arena last month, and they gave a couple of gifts away, and I'm so glad that I didn't win the hockey stick because I would not have been able to wear that very appropriately. But this is autographed by Shea Weber, and so I am delighted. Sean Henry, thank you very much for that gift for me. I'm so happy to be able to wear it here today. As we do always, we want to make sure that we start our meeting with an invocation and pledge. And so I would ask Charles Alexander with the Tennessee Small Business Development Center to come forward and help us with that.
Please stand as you are able. Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come to you today so very grateful that we have the opportunity to all of us meet here and greet and be able to live in a place where we can run our businesses, where we can work in our communities, and we can worship you. God, we thank you so much for the business environment you've given us, and we ask you to forgive us for where we don't put you first and put you foremost in our lives, where we don't read more about you, we don't pray, we don't worship with others, and we don't make you the middle of everything that we do. God, we ask you to help lift up those who aren't able to be here today, those who are sick in the community, and those who are just struggling in general. God, we ask you to bless our speaker today, bless this food and nourish our body. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, everybody, face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated.
I always want to sing God Bless America as soon as we get through with that. I'm not going to add that into the program. It's all right. It's now my great pleasure to introduce to you all a person who needs no introduction, the chair of our chamber, Lisa Byers, who owns the Hendersonville Goddard School here. So let's give her a great warm welcome.
Good afternoon and happy February. I have the honor of thanking our new members as well as recognizing our elected officials. First, I'll recognize our new members, those who have joined or rejoined since our last luncheon in January. We have Bojangles, and that's Scott Sandridge. Comeric Analyticals, LLC, and that's Colin Thomas. Crowley Tool Company, Ed Crowley. Dalton Bowman. Elite Med Spa, Andrea Odom. Masters School of Gymnastics, Josh Valley. Perry Law Firm, Steve Perry. Rev Local, Becky Davidson. Rod Garrow Agency Farmers, that's Rod Garrow. Saundersville United Methodist Church, Tom Hudson. Splashbox Marketing, Jenny Wolt. Sumner Realty, John Longbreak. And Tenant Building Group, which is Sean Thomas. Please help me welcome our new members. We would now like to recognize our elected officials who have joined us today. If you're an elected official, please stand so that you may be recognized. Sean, please stay standing so that you can introduce yourself. We'll start on this side of the room, sir.
Bill Kemp, County Clerk. County Rutherford, Sheriff, Sumner County. Darrell Woodcock, Alderman, Ward 5. I'm Scott Sprouse, I'm Alderman from Ward 2, and I'm not running for nothing. I am a season ticket holder. Anthony Holmes, Sumner County, too.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us today. We're glad to have you. Now we'll have Wendy come up. I think she's going to recognize our ambassadors.
And I am so excited about this group that I get to announce today. We have totally revamped our ambassador program, and I'm so excited about the 9 people I'm about to introduce who have volunteered to be ambassadors for the year of 2014. So I'm going to ask them to just come up so you'll recognize them and know their names, because you're going to be hearing from them. And if you haven't attended one of our member orientations, guess what? This year is the year, because they're going to stay on you until we see you at the office. So I'm just going to have them come up. Dalton Bowman. Dalton covers a lot of ground. He is a volunteer for the Relay for Life, and he works with Ambassadors Formal Wear. Andy Arbuckle is with First Bank. Janice McCord, Primary Residential Mortgage. Megan Rewa, American Family Care. Mark Bentel, Bank of Tennessee. Ben Warner, I know a Ben Wheeler, sorry. Ben Warner is Shelter Insurance. Lauren Eckel, Comfort Care. Pierce Hambrick, Insperity. And Linda Bolt has graciously offered to sign on again for another year. So if you are interested in being part of this group, because there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be involved in, see me, because I'd like to have a couple more. With 800 members, it's hard for a staff of 5 to do all we need to do, and these people are going to help us communicate a lot of information to you and get you involved. So please thank them for the job they're going to do this year. And now I believe Gina Scott will come up and introduce our speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Sean Henry. Mr. Henry became the President and Chief Operating Officer of the Nashville Predators and Bridgestone Arena in 2010. As President and COO, he's responsible for business operations and franchise of the franchise and the venue. Prior to joining the Predators, Mr. Henry spent 11 years with the Tampa Bay Lightning and Palace Sports and Entertainment, serving as the Executive Vice President and COO there as well. He serves on many boards, the Nashville Predators Foundation, Nashville Downtown Partnership, Nashville Sports Council, the Sports Fund, and Rocket Town. He's a graduate of the State University of New York. He's been married to Tammy Manning for 22 years, and they have 4 children, Stephen, Matthew, Amy, and Jessica. Please welcome Mr. Henry.
Well, thank you for that. I'm always embarrassed when you read the obituary and I'm still living to hear it, so thank you. Ready to give you some advice on that jersey? You need to cut the tags off. You look like a Blackhawk fan, okay? So, the season ticket holders are laughing, obviously. So again, thank you for having us out today. I have Andrew and Lindsay with me today. Any questions you have at all about our franchise, the venue, our business in general, you can ask any one of us. We love talking about it, obviously. That's really why we're here. We're here to grow our business. Nothing more, and try to connect. If you haven't entered your business card in the bowl yet, or the vase, whatever it is, please do so. I think we have 4 packs of 4 tickets and a yearbook for everybody. I knew there was something else. But again, what I'd like to do is tell you a fast history of our venue, our business, the problems we've had, and more importantly, how we're getting out of it and where we're going. At any point, interrupt me, ask a question. Again, like talking about it. I know I only have about an hour and 15 minutes or so. So we'll be here for a while together, if you'd like. Yeah. I will tell you this. I am such a great speaker that Scott Ramsey, who is the executive director of the Sports Council, has heard me speak before. He came in the room today to welcome me. He thanked me for coming here and speaking. And then he said, hey, by the way, I'm not staying for this crap. I was like, oh, great. So that's what you're in store for right now. But again, the Predators came here in 1998 was the first season. As most of you know, the building opened in 1996. It was a vision of then Mayor Bredesen. obviously became Governor Bredesen later on, to change what Nashville was, to change the entertainment corridor to something that we could be proud of, and really transform Broadway from what it was in the late 80s, early 90s, to what it is now, and ideally what it's going to become in the next few years. And if you're from here, if you remember those days, Broadway wasn't a place that you were that proud of. There were some places that you went to visit because you had to, they were iconic, but for the most part, you didn't find yourself there very often. And anyone that doubts that, and I always laugh about it, my old company, we actually used to build arenas and stadiums around the country. We had an opportunity to help finance, build, and operate Bridgestone Arena back in 1995, and we passed on it because we saw the area and we thought there's no way in the world we're going to invest $120 million into this area because we just didn't believe in what was happening. Did the same thing in Tampa, actually. Passed on that building for the same reason. I've just spent the better part of almost 20 years in both these places because someone else had the vision of building an arena in a place to really reclaim an area. But again, the old convention center, does anyone know where the front door is? It's not on Broadway. And you think about that today. If you had that real estate and you were going to build a convention center, you'd put the front door on Broadway, right? That's how bad it was back then. But again, Mayor Bredesen decided we were going to build an event center. Maybe we could recruit a basketball team, maybe a hockey team, who knows. But he went about it and built a building. It was Bredesen's folly, and the rest is somewhat history. The New Jersey Devils almost moved here upon the building opening, but then they won a Stanley Cup and stayed in New Jersey. I don't understand how you stay in New Jersey as opposed to come to Nashville, but they did, fortunately for me. Then the NBA was going to come. The Timberwolves were going to move here. The Warriors were going to move here. The Kings were going to move here, or there was going to be an expansion team. And that's really when Craig Leopold got involved. And he wanted to bring a basketball team here. He loved hockey. He's from Milwaukee, but basketball was his first passion. When he realized that wasn't going to happen, he worked with Gary Bettman and Mayor Bredesen to bring the Nashville Predators here in 1998. And it started off tremendously. Great honeymoon period, and a lot of passion for the team. The fan experience, absolutely incredible. I know there are a lot of season ticket holders in the audience, recognize a lot of people. You know the chants, the cheers, the excitement that we have. One of the loudest buildings in the league. Unfortunately, the team's success didn't follow as fast as the passion of our fans did. And in the end, we went through a lockout right when the team made their first playoff ever. This team quickly was becoming a farm system for other teams. We have the best GM in hockey. We have the best coach in hockey, and that's unarguable. I don't care where we are in the standings year in, year out. These two guys, Barry Trotz and David Poyle, have done an exceptional job. They draft better than any other duo in our league, and they are a partnership. It's not David giving Barry players and Barry not teaching them how to do offense. It's a partnership for what they do. But for years, all we became was an organization that drafted really well. We trained guys how to become great professionals in Milwaukee. We brought them up here. They became all-stars, and then what'd they do? They went to Philadelphia. They went to Vancouver. They went to Detroit. We were other people's farm system. Craig was done with that. He decided to sell the team. He tried to find local buyers to buy it. A gentleman named Ball Silly, or Satan as some people call him, had an agreement to buy the team. He put tickets for sale up in Hamilton, Ontario, and basically announced he was stealing the team. He was moving the team. Fortunately, our fans said you can't do that, and a local group stepped up and said, we're going to keep the team here. All we need to do is sell 14,000 tickets a game, and you can't move it. The lease locks in. That was somewhat vague. It still could have moved. The best thing that happened with our fans' passion, we had local owners step up. All day one season ticket holders. They all decided to build their businesses in Nashville. 3 of the 4 or 4 of the 5 guys were not from here, but they chose to move here and build their businesses. And they said, we're going to buy the team, we're going to keep the team here, and we know we're never going to make $1 with it. But our goal is to someday break even, but more importantly, to win. To bring a championship to Nashville. And that was in 07-08. We had a new mayor in office, just elected, Mayor Dean, and he worked with the new ownership group, the Passion of the Fans, to broker a new lease. Basically put a lot of incentives in front of the team that if you can combine the hockey business with the arena business and create something bigger and better, you can tap into some of those new revenues that you created. It worked pretty well. In 2010, Tom Segran became our chairman, and he said, it's working pretty well, it's good, we need to make it great. And he fundamentally changed the way we were doing business. He got with the mayor again and said, we're going to look at these incentives, we're going to maximize them every year, but most importantly, we're going to run this team like a business. And we're no longer going to apologize to our fans. We're no longer going to lose our players to other teams for financial reasons. We're not going to start looking at 14,000 and wonder if we made it or not the next day, always being fear that this team is going to leave in a year. And I basically turned the business over to people that run teams in other cities. And that was Jeff Cogan from the Dallas Stars and myself with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And he said, you guys are now partners with David Poyle, the president of our hockey operations, and it's time to do something special. I don't have very lofty goals for you. We just have one very simple goal, just one. I'll ask Lindsay, being she didn't remember this last time. Lindsay, what is our corporate goal? Very good. I asked Lindsay once this in front of a room, and she didn't know it. It killed me, actually. But yeah, when we sat down, we took the job. Tom said two things. Number one, we're changing our jerseys to this yellow. We got to change it to gold. Number two, this is your only goal. This is all you have to do. It's very modest. Don't worry about it. Become the number one sports entertainment venue in the country, built around a Stanley Cup championship team. We said, that's it? He said, yep, that's it. Because nothing less than that is acceptable. That's what we work for virtually every day. And we changed our business. We brought all facets together under one roof. When Tom really took over as chairman, we had an arena business, we had a hockey operations business, and we had a hockey business, if you will. We had 2 marketing departments, 3 PR departments, 2 box offices, 2 accounting departments, 2 sales departments. It was just absolutely crazy. What we realized quickly is we'll sell more hockey tickets and bring in more sponsors off of the strength of the circus and family shows and Billy Joel and Bruce Springsteen. And we'll sell more Cheap Trick concert tickets every time we have a hockey game. And by bringing them together and cross-selling it and having one marketing department, one message, one mission, and virtually every one of our salespeople thinking about one thing, how to fill our building up every day, whether it be for tonight, which is our Nash Vegas event, our Predator Foundation launch event of the year, a fundraiser. Every single employee in our building is focused on how do we bring 1,000 people to that event and sell it out. We have a game Saturday night. You have 160 employees driving towards one thing, making that a sellout. When we had an opportunity to lock into the Billy Joel show a few weeks ago, well, actually started about 6 months ago, he announced that he was going to play maybe 5, 6, maybe 8 cities, in addition to playing Madison Square Garden virtually once a month, till the end of time. It was, I'll do it, but this is what you have to guarantee. We had no problem saying we'll guarantee that because we have 160 people looking at how to leverage all of our marketing. How do we turn our 41 home games, our 41 away games into TV commercials to sell Billy Joel tickets, to sell Imagine Dragon tickets. Every time we can take a show that's got to normally do 5 or 6 or 7,000 people in another venue, and we can grow that to 10,000 people in our venue, that's 3,000 more people that we can sell hockey tickets to. And that's how we look at it. The whole wheel just continues, to move together. The end result, we have not hit our goal yet, but we will hit it. I mean, it's really that arrogant when I say that. We will hit it. There's no doubt about it. I said the same thing in Tampa when I was there. Jeff said the same thing in Dallas when he was there. And everyone in Canada laughed. Everyone in the original 6 cities laughed. Well, the fact is, they became the number 1 venue in America in Dallas, and they won a Stanley Cup. We became the number 1 venue 2 years in a row in Tampa. He only did it once. And we won a Stanley Cup. We led the league in attendance in Tampa, Florida. I mean, so these things can be done when you bring the businesses together, and we're on that path right now. 2 years ago, if you remember, we had 3 of the best players in the entire league. We had Pekka Rinne, the best goalie in the league, regardless of his hip issues right now. We had Shea Weber, and we had Ryan Suter. We had the best defenseman in the league and maybe the 2nd or 3rd best defenseman in the league. All 3 of them were scheduled for free agency at the same time that coming summer. It was the best team we ever had assembled. We made some nice moves in the prior offseason by bringing in Mike Fisher. We made the 2nd round for the first time in franchise history. When people didn't think we'd make moves at the trade deadline, we did. We got aggressive, and it worked. But that year, everyone said, well, this is the year you blow it up. When are you going to trade Pekka? When are you going to trade Ryan Suter? When are you going to trade Shea Weber? And let's hope we can get a few draft picks back for it. And David Poyle said, no. We have removed the word can't and no from our vocabulary. We're not only going to sign all 3 of them, we're going to bring that crazy Russian Radulov back from Russia. We're going to lock him in long term, and we're going to be aggressive at the trade deadline again. And people laughed. November of that year, we signed Pekka Rinne to the richest contract in Tennessee sports history at the time, to a 7-year, $50 million contract. People couldn't believe it. We were smart enough to sign him on his birthday. What happened that day, Andrew? He got a shutout. So we try to always sign our players on their birthdays. Good things happen. Unfortunately, so many of them birthdays in the summer. So we got to start playing longer. So everyone said at that point, great, you signed Pekka. That's the right move. You win from the goal out. Where are you going to trade Shea? Make sure you trade him to Eastern Conference. where are you going to trade Ryan Suter? We said, you don't get it. We're not trading these guys. We went out, basically offered them the same contract that we offered Pecorine. We offered Radulov the same contract to come back from Russia. Shea Weber was instrumental in getting Radulov to actually come back. We had him come back, I think, late February or so, and he was what we were always missing. He was the sniper. He was the feared guy. Every time he touched the puck, something exciting was going to happen. Actually, every time he woke up, something exciting was going to happen. We just didn't realize how much so. But we went out and said, we're going to sign these guys. And Ryan Suter said, this is where I'm going to be. I'm going to sign in the summer. Shea Weber said, well, once I know what Ryan's doing, then I'll decide what I'm doing. But if you bring Alex back, that's a good sign for both of us. Build a championship team, and this is where we both want to be forever. At the trade deadline that year, we went out and got very aggressive. Went after Sergei Kostisyn's older brother, unfortunately. A really bold move at the time. Hal Gill and Paul Gosted traded some of our draft picks to shore ourselves up for that playoff run. Again, it was the best team we ever assembled. And instead of dumping our players, we were saying, no, this is a new franchise. That year, we finished as the 10th or 8th busiest building in America. The first time we ever finished out of the top 25. So it all started coming together at that moment. Unfortunately, we got eliminated in the second round to Vancouver. But again, we made the second round for the second year in a row. Only one of two teams to do that at that point. Vancouver went on to lose the Stanley Cup to Boston and then had riots in the city. So maybe it was better we didn't lose to Boston. That was funny. I guess you don't follow hockey. There were bad riots. But at the end of that season, we went out and very, very, very aggressive with our own guys. Unfortunately, by bringing Kostisyn and Radulov together, it didn't work. They went out a little bit late once or twice in Phoenix. If you know the Predators all, you know the story. We ended up suspending them for the rest of the playoffs, ended up losing. Actually, that year we lost to Phoenix, right? See, this is where you can correct me. Because I have such revisionist history, I'll just say anything. We lost to Phoenix that year really because of what those guys did that night, so we suspended them. Radulov went back to Russia. Kostisyn went back to Russia. We knew Sergei was going to be gone as well. And then Ryan Suter on July 1st, first day of free agency, signed with the Minnesota Wild. It was not because of money that he left us, which was the first time we lost a free agent because he wanted to play somewhere else as opposed to a financial issue. And as much as we hated to lose him, and our fans got all over us saying, why didn't you trade him? If you traded him, you would have gotten 2 number 1 draft picks back. We said if we traded him, we wouldn't have made the playoffs. If we traded him, we wouldn't have positioned our team to fight for a championship. And that's what this is about. This is not about leveraging an all-star to try to bring back other 22-year-olds to become all-stars and do that all over again. Philadelphia looked at that, thought they could take advantage of us, and they offered Shea Weber the richest contract in the NHL at the time. It was very much a front-loaded contract. He gets $14 million bonus every July 1st for the first 4 years of the contract, then $6 million for the next 6 years of the contract. They thought that we would not be able to match it. We're a small team. No way in the world will our owners step up. Well, what'd they do? We matched that offer sheet. The day we did that, we sent a signal to the NHL that we can compete with anyone. We're the same as Philadelphia. We're the same as Vancouver. We're the same as Toronto, except we make the playoffs more often. We're ready to compete with them. And no doubt, there's a huge loss in not having Ryan Suter. But we also knew what we had in our minor league system. We had Roman Josi, who's going to become a better player. And what we did do that year, we secured the best goalie in the league. We secured the best defenseman in the league. Minnesota's best defenseman was our second best defenseman. And that's not knocking them. But if you had to pick 2 of the 3 to keep, we picked the right 2. But it really woke up the rest of the league. And it was fun when the owner of the Philadelphia Flyers, and is anyone here from Philadelphia? Good. I hate every Philadelphia team like you can't imagine. I'm from New York, if you can't tell. So I grew up hating them. I grew up hating orange and green and whatever color the Phillies wear. Absolutely hated it. As I worked in sports, you learn to hate them even more. There's not a worse organization than the Philadelphia Flyers. If they were here, I'd say it. I say it at every Board of Governors meeting. We don't say hello to each other. We greet each other in a very, very, very different manner. Jeff Cogan's even more aggressive with it. Our owner's more aggressive. They're not good guys. Now, with that said, they run a great organization. They do what they should for their fans. But their president and their owner called us on a conference call, and they wanted to audit our books to figure out how we're paying Shea Weber's contract. And that's the arrogance of other teams, and that's what other teams thought of this franchise. And we said, guys, just wait. This is the year that we pass you in everything. And that was the year that the building, I think, finished 6th busiest building in the country. The Philadelphia Center, or at the time it was called the First Union Center, or the FU Center. It finished, that's not made up. It was the best name for a franchise I could think of. But that year they finished 8th. They finished behind us. This call they made after they called us to audit our books is they called Polestar to audit the concert ticket numbers and results because they couldn't believe they finished behind us. Proud to say, since we signed Shea Weber, they've finished behind us year in and year out. The year just ended, we finished as the 6th busiest building again in the country for the first time ever, ahead of Madison Square Garden, ahead of Chicago, ahead of Atlanta, ahead of Miami. I mean, our peer cities are no longer Charlotte and, yes?
Who are the top 6?
What's that?
Who are the top 6?
Who are the top 6? Well, it wasn't Madison Square Garden. Being a New Yorker, that's all I really care about. But I think it was the Staples Center in LA, and I don't know. It wasn't the Garden, and it wasn't the FU Center. Andrew will find out in a minute if he Googles it, I bet, right? I'm going to feel really dumb if Philadelphia was in front of us now. But I think it was Dallas and some other city, doesn't matter. But for the past 4 years, we finished in the top 10. Prior to this new merger of our business enterprises, we never finished in the top 20. I think our best finish was 26 or 28. So we're well on our way of bringing the businesses together to create something bigger and better. Our name and rights deal that we signed in the shadow of another embarrassment for the franchise. Somei was our partner on the building, the Somei Group. Obviously, they had their own problems, so that name was taken off our building. Bridgestone stepped up and said, this is our home. We want to have our name on the building. But they also didn't know what we were going to be. So they signed a short-term deal. I think it was a 5-year contract set to extend in 2015. Proud to say almost 18 months ago, they decided to extend it at that point because they believed in what we were doing, where we were going. Nissan, another great Nashville corporation, they stepped up and they entered into our building, a large partnership. Virtually every big deal that we have in front of us, we've either extended or almost doubled its value. Our local TV deal was set to come up, I think, next year. Last year, or 2 years ago, actually, we started our negotiations with them, and we tripled our local TV revenue with them. So everything's going in the right direction. Now, our owner's first prophecy is still there. They have not made a dollar yet. We still are one of the largest unintended nonprofits in the city, but hopefully we turn that around. But they knew where it was going to be. They believe in sustained growth, and that's what we're enjoying right now. But again, when you look at a fan base, few fan bases have been tortured more than ours over the past 10 years. And I think over the past 4 or 5 years, you're seeing a different level and different wave of partnership with it. I would say the best thing that ever happened to this franchise was almost leaving in 2010. Because you have that initial bond and honeymoon period that you got when the franchise got here 15 years ago, 16 years ago, which you enjoy and you love and it's yours. Everyone remembers that first game. I know I've talked to 30,000 people that were there. I mean, everyone was a day one season ticket holder. When the team almost left, though, and the fans truly saved the organization, it built this secondary layer of a bond that really is unbreakable, or it's unbreakable until we break it. And however that could be, distrust, whatever it may be. We don't plan on doing that. But I look at our passion between our fans and our franchise. And when I say our fans, I don't mean the team, but the arena as well. They're one body in reality. And you bring that together, and I look at the Green Bay Packers as probably the only other franchise with that bond and love. Now, obviously, there are bigger fan bases that are out there. But for our fan base, the bond is absolutely incredible. We've put about $22 million into the building as another layer of our partnership with the city. And that's an important fact as well. The building's 16 years old. No capital improvements were done to the building for roughly 13 years. And we could have continued on that path, and it would have been virtually impossible to stay in that top 10 because the building would start to erode. Roughly at year 15 or 16, it hits its peak, and if you don't invest in it, it'll start falling off, if you will. A lot of people can challenge that, and I welcome it. Some professor from Vanderbilt was half goofy. But the fact is, the Palace of Auburn Hills was built in 1988. The same year, Miami, Orlando, Charlotte all built a building. The Palace of Auburn Hills is still one of the most modern buildings in America because it averages about $2 million of investment a year. Every 6, 7, 8 years, they do a large capital improvement to catch up to the rest of the industry. Charlotte, Orlando, Miami are all closed. At the 20-year mark, they all shut down and built a new arena. Why? Because they didn't invest in it. They were never in the top 15 busiest venues in America because everyone that went there knew oh, the toilet's broken today, it's going to be next time. So when Elton John decides where to tour, he can tour anywhere. When they have a bad experience in that building, or the box office windows didn't work, or the power went off, you stop going there. So that investment's important in the building. We're excited what we have going on as a venue. When you look at the South Campus, the emergence of the Omni Hotel, the new convention center, the expanded Hall of Fame, our revamped back door, what was the back door, the South Side, just opened up Tavern 96, which will soon be better themed with a local brand. Electrified that whole area, kind of connecting Broadway to the new campus through our building. There exciting things are happening, and we couldn't be at a better spot right now. From a hockey standpoint, if I would have told you in the summertime that Pekka Rinne was going to miss virtually the entire season up to this point, and Shea Weber was going to miss 5 games, and Kevin Klein, when he was on our team, was going to miss 3 of those same 5 games, and Roman Josi, really our young stud on the blue line, was going to miss virtually the first month of the season. And if I told you then we were going to be sitting 4 points out of the playoffs, you would have laughed. You would have maybe said today or then what you said in a few emails you've said to me in November and December when things look dark and bleak. But the fact is, our team is better than its record, and it's showing it right now. The past 3 weeks, as much as people want to cry about the Edmonton game, and I'm one of them, or that we gave a point away in Calgary, we should have had 2 points that game. We're sitting 4 points out of the playoffs right now without the best goalie in the entire league. We have some good news on Pekka. He is on the ice now with light rehab going on through the Olympic break. I think that's going to accelerate. And if you ask Pekka, he thinks he's playing Saturday night. He is not. But you're going to see him this year. And I can't imagine anyone wanting to play us right now. And you look at St. Louis game on Saturday night. Again, we got 1 point after a back-to-back game. Come from behind game on Friday night against the Devils. The team is playing well. The team will score. When Pekka's in net, it changes how you approach everything else that comes out. So we're excited about this season, but more importantly, we're excited about the future. Great things are happening, and again, it's because of the bond we have with the community. And that is best evidenced by tonight at Nash Vegas. If you're not coming, there's still tickets available, a few of them. It's a fun event. Our foundation is something we're more proud of than anything else that we do because it's changing the community. That's something that we take very seriously. Our players take it very seriously. We give more away in cash and in kind services than all but maybe 3 teams that I know of in the entire country. And it's done off the backs and the generosity of our players and of our fans. March 1st, we're going to be launching something called the 365 Club. And if you can picture the numbers 3-5 with the number 6 above it, Pekka and Shea, they've come together and they're going to become the public faces of our pediatric cancer fund that we generate about $200,000 a year that we give to Children's Hospital. I think we're going to be able to triple that in the next 2 years because of their presence on top of it. They also bought 2 suites that we made into one giant hockey suite that kids that are fighting a fight that they shouldn't be fighting get to come out and enjoy it. We get to reward their caregivers and bring them out and really have a fun night from time to time. But it's special things like those guys stepping up and doing that away from the ice in a very unsung manner that make us proud of what we are and who we are. From a business standpoint, we did an economic impact study a few years ago when we were in the middle of doing our new lease at the city's request. And when you look at economic impact studies, either we all believe them or we all dump on them. I think it's a fairly business-friendly group, so you'll believe in them to a degree. But when you look at the multipliers of revenues that come in for a tourism industry, you're normally at a factor between a 7-time multiplier up to even a 13-time multiplier. We knew if we used that type of multiplier, we were getting killed in the press. So we used, I think, a 1.4 times multiplier, so virtually the lowest grade you could use on a multiplier, and we generate over $410 million each and every year in economic impact. Again, there's a professor from Vanderbilt that would just dump all over that and say that's absolutely wrong. If we didn't have a hockey team here, if we didn't have Bruce Springsteen play here, instead of buying concert tickets, people would still go to the movies and they'd go to restaurants. They'd go bowling. When was the last time you guys went bowling? I mean, I bowl. I'm a bowler with my kids. I came in second place in our tournament, by the way, this year. But the fact is, he's probably right. People will go to the movies more often. They go to restaurants more often. They'd go bowling, maybe even putt-putt or go-karts more often. But they would be doing it in their counties. About half of our tickets, or I'm sorry, 75% of our tickets are sold outside of Davidson County. About 40% of our concert tickets are sold outside of the state. About 15% of our hockey tickets are sold outside of the state. So there's no doubt. I'll say he's right. He's not. But people would be going to the movies, they'd be going to restaurants, and they're doing other activities, but they're doing it where they live, obviously. You wouldn't be coming downtown and recreating Broadway. You wouldn't be coming downtown and recreating what that new campus has become. So Governor Bredesen's vision worked then. Mayor Dean's vision worked when he re-engaged with us. And in our last lease, I remember trying to explain it to our owners what a good job I did in negotiating it. I said, remember all that guaranteed money we used to get? And they said, yeah, and they're all excited. I said, well, now we're getting about a third of that. Remember all those incentives we used to get? Well, they're going up by about $100,000. They said, wait a minute. So we rolled about $2.5 million back to earn another $200,000. I said, yeah. I was smiling and I waited. I said, well, what else did we get? And the biggest one is we developed this capital fund that comes off a ticket tax, but is redirected right back into the building. And what we explained to our owners, that the mayor got, that we got, we're at a different point right now where we don't have to take charity, if you will, investment from the city. We're generating on our own, and it's time to take some of those benefits and put it right back in the building to keep that machine rolling forward. So in the end, we can achieve our ultimate goal, to become the #1 sports entertainment facility in the country, built around a Stanley Cup championship team. And it's not that far away. It's just really that simple. When you look at our core that we have locked up on a team standpoint and what we have in the minors and where we are going to go, we're a lot closer than some people would think. But again, a month ago, if I would have said that, season ticket holders would say, are you crazy? You know, we're sitting 13 points out of the playoffs. You know, it's January 1st. There's no way in the world we're going to make the playoffs. And if we make the playoffs, we're going to get eliminated in the first round. I'd rather get eliminated in the first round of the playoffs than miss the playoffs. I'd rather have a playoff party every day over a draft party. Because once you're in, anything can happen. And just to bore you with some more history, January 4th, 2004, I worked for the last place Tampa Bay Lightning. We weren't just out of the playoffs, we were in the last place in the entire league. We came into Dallas, beat Jeff Cogan's team 4-0 off our goalie who had 48 saves. It was our backup goalie. We were going to bench Javi Bulin, who oddly enough wore number 35. We couldn't score enough goals. We were a defensive-oriented team. And that goalie, John Graham, missed the plane because he was out celebrating his 48-save shutout. So we were forced to play Javi Bulin in Nashville the next night. Javi Bulin went off and won the next 21 out of 23 games. We won first our conference championship in the Eastern Conference, and we went on to win the Stanley Cup. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen this year either. All I know is our number 35 didn't play on January 4th, and he is going to play this season. And we were not quite last place, but we're out of the playoffs then. But I feel good about where we're sitting right now, no matter how many emails you send us complaining. So, but if you have any questions about the team, our business, anything at all, I'd love to answer them. Yes, sir. Tavern 96 is really the placeholder name for the bar. It'll always be Tavern 96. It will be adorned with another theme that's on top of that. But the building opened in 1996, so it pays homage to that. In the center of the tavern is a hockey puck wall, where every player, every performer that starts to play here from now on will sign a puck. There'll be a TV where you'll see Billy Joel signing the puck, getting a prize that goes back to what the theme is. So it embodies everything the arena is. It connects hockey and entertainment, to it. It also has over 96 beers that it features. So, have any other questions at all? Yes, sir.
Is there an all-star game weekend on the horizon?
Well, there's an all-star game weekend every 3 or 4 years. It's been much discussed, an all-star game for Nashville, and I will leave that for a great public announcement if that were to come about. But when you look at 2016, 2017 will be the next two that will be announced. I feel pretty confident that we can be enjoying some other teams' players playing here with odd jerseys on. So, is that specifically vague enough? Okay, good. I'll tell you, we're kicking around. Wouldn't it be fun to do? Everyone keeps talking about an outdoor game, a stadium game. Why can't we do one? Well, whatever that answer is. But it would be a lot of fun to look at the All-Star game in a different manner and play an alternative venue, potentially. So, we have some winners if there are no other questions at all. I think we have winners. If your cards aren't in there, you get them in now. And just so you know, if your card's in here, you can win 4 tickets to a game, 4 winners, right, Lindsay? However, Lindsay and Andrew will probably call every single person who put a card in here. If they don't call you, do me a favor and email me. Let's see, 1,
They will call you. He called me.
Oh, perfect. All right, the winners are Len Silverman, Raymond Pankinen. That was close.
Yes. You're close.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Lauren Eccles.
Eccles. Yes.
Eccles, all right. And Daryl Woodcock. So they got your tickets. Again, if you have any other questions at all about where we're sitting right now, again, we're proud of the story that we're telling. We're proud of where we are. More importantly, we're proud of where we're going, because it's going to really be special when we do win the cup, and that cup comes down Broadway, because there's not a better street made for it. And you talk about setting yourself up for the future as a community and a hockey town. When we win the cup, it'll truly change how each and every one of us approach our franchise. When you look at the gold jersey over here, when we won in Tampa, when they won in Dallas, that's what launched youth hockey in our markets, more so than anything else. Kids like winners. For a city that enjoys a lot of Blackhawk fans, a lot of Red Wing fans, Sabre fans, Blues fans coming in for other games, when we win, you won't see their jerseys anymore. You'll see ours, because we need to do more to give our fans a lot more, to be here. But it will change. We're building an ice rink in Antioch, and when that opens, it gives more kids an opportunity to become fans. More importantly, love a great game. It's the best youth sport you can play, without exception. And obviously, I'm biased, but away from that, anyone that's ever played hockey at any level is a better employee, is a better teammate, and I really do believe is a better person because of the team concept. Andrew, do you disagree with that? I knew you would. Andrew played a lot of youth hockey, but it really is. We've had early conversations with a city not far from here about an ice rink.
It would be.
Where are we on that?
I'm not the guy in the room to talk.
But it has been surfaced, and the key to our mapping of our future is taking those early conversations and taking them to the next level, because the model that we have in place with Davidson, and we're working with another, actually it was in the paper, meeting with the mayor of Cookeville a few times to see if we can build a regional rink there as well. It is a great connector. And when you look at the great youth complexes that we have in a lot of different cities and towns surrounding Bridgestone Arena, it's the best way to connect with our youth. So, well, thank you all very much. Really appreciate it. What we got?
We have a great way for you to remember the next city for ice in your area. This is a montage of Hendersonville, Tennessee, and I think many of you have seen this around town, and lots of the businesses that are located here are represented here, along with historic sites and a number of our musical history. So we've got actually a container over here for this, but we wanted to give this to you as a gift for being a speaker here. We really appreciate all the things that the Predators organization does. I am particularly aware of a lot of the things that your foundation is doing in this community, your charitable gifts that are going to youth organizations, and they have been just a great support for us. So
well, thank you.
We appreciate it so much. Thanks. You did a great job. Yes, I'll get you. So, Gold and Navy Day. That's what we can all start wearing here very soon. I have a few announcements for you, but before I start with those, we do have one display table, and I believe Dave Gould is here, and he's going to come and give you some information about his newspaper and introduce a couple of folks, I believe. Let's welcome Dave Gould.
Thank you, Brenda. Just real quick, I'm with Main Street Media of Tennessee and the Hendersonville Standard, and we have a table over here. We have a special subscription offer for $20. If anybody would like to subscribe, there's cards on the table you can take with you. And I want to introduce our new editor, Sherry Mitchell. Sherry has been working in Sumner County for a long time in journalism. We're really glad to have her. And then we have a new salesperson who started yesterday, Ginger McClendon. Ginger worked here at the Chamber for about 9 years, and we're just thrilled to have her as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I have the great pleasure to be able to tell you about some of the different activities that are going on. Our upcoming connection activities, Our Leads Exchange meets every Wednesday in the Chamber office at noon, so tomorrow at noon. Please plan to be there. We have a great group. There are 35, 40 folks who come every week, and they have a great time. Our next business after hours is February 20th at Elite Med Spa, located in the City Square Shopping Center. And the time for that is between 5 and 7. This is a brand new med spa. Andrea Odom and her husband Todd are the owners of this brand new business, and so they'd love to see you there. Our next luncheon is March the 4th, and Edsel Charles, who is a nationally renowned person on research and data on housing trends, is going to be here. He came a few years ago and told us we didn't have enough retirement housing, and I think a few people have finally decided to pay attention to some of that. Our upcoming promotion activities, the very first one coming along is the Mid-10 Home Show. It's March the 15th and 16th at the Expo Center. We are at about 90 booths already, and so that is growing, and it's going to be a great event, a 2-day event. So sponsorships and booths are selling out. Cassie is the one you need to see about that. So we want you not only to be there with your booth, but also as a guest coming through and taking a look at all the great things that go on with home remodeling and building and those kinds of things. Save the date, the Chamber Golf Classic, I think this is the 23rd, is that where we are? 23rd, I guess, Golf Classic, is going to be on April the 21st here at Bluegrass Country Club. Scott Robinson is the chair for that event this year, and so he wants to know if any of you are interested in serving on the committee or playing or sponsoring or doing any of those kinds of things. Our upcoming support opportunities, we've got a member update on February the 13th, which is next week from 11:30 to 1, and that's for basic bronze and silver members. Jets Pizza is going to provide lunch, so we try to feed you while you're learning about the Chamber. And our Young Professionals Council is going to meet on February the 27th at noon at the Hendersonville Library. Oh. No, it's not. Okay. And then one last thing that I wanted to let folks know, and we are getting around and getting these invitations out to many of the businesses around the Indian Lake Boulevard area, but the second meeting of our Indian Lake Area Business Council is on February the 27th at the Hendersonville Library at 6 o'clock. Fred Rogers is going to come. He's the Director of Planning here for the City of Hendersonville, and so he is going to give us some information on the master plan and what adjustments have happened with that and what new things are getting ready to come into that area. And we have a couple of, if somebody could give me a couple of cards, we've got a couple of door prizes, one for signature cleaners. Ed Vance, bless his heart, has been so faithful in helping us with that for so many years, and so we have a $25 gift certificate that somebody is going to win, and if it's one of the 4 people who got hockey tickets, you're not winning this. But Kara Brumley, she left? Okay, well, all right, we're going to pull one more out of here then. Did he win this? Bill Kemp, did you win hockey tickets? No, you've got, oh, okay. All right, so you've got the gift certificate. No, there are not any extras that I know of.
But
and
it said email him. So.
And then we also have a Jets Pizza surprise pack, and Oliver Berry has won that. I want to remind all of you that Sean has brought a great program and magazine here for all of you as you leave, so please be sure to pick one of those up as well. Thank you again for being here, a part of the February luncheon with the Hendersonville Chamber. We have such a great group. I really appreciate y'all being here. Be safe on your way back home, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.